Stowaway among the stars. The soft hum of the Nebula Drift's engines had always been enough company for Elias Wren. 6 years of solo cargo runs through the Vega Quadrant had taught him that silence was safer than companionship. People asked questions he preferred not to answer, about the scars on his hands and the permanent furrow between his brows. Navigation system stable, the ship's computer announced in its flat tone. Estimated arrival at Proxima Station, 73 hours. Elias nodded to no one, stretching his lean frame in the pilot's chair. He just cleared the border outpost at Helios 7, a miserable rock at the edge of contested space where factions from 3 different systems argued over mining rights. His cargo hold contained nothing more interesting than processed ore and synthetic fabrics, barely worth the fuel it took to haul them, but enough to keep him moving. The first anomaly came as a whisper, a temperature fluctuation in the lower cargo bay. Elias might have dismissed it as sensor error if not for the second alert, unexplained oxygen consumption, 13% above standard. "Computer, run diagnostic on life support systems," he ordered, his voice rough from disuse. Life support functioning within normal parameters, anomaly detected, unauthorized biological presence in Cargo Bay 3. Elias's hand moved instinctively to the blaster strapped to his thigh. Border outposts were notorious for smugglers and refugees trying to hitch rides to the inner systems. He'd caught stowaways before, usually desperate, sometimes dangerous. The cargo bay door slid open with a hydraulic sigh. Elias stepped through, blaster raised, eyes scanning the stacked containers. "I know you're here," he called, his voice echoing off metal walls. "Come out now, and I might not jettison you into space." A soft rustling came from behind the synthetic fabric bundles. Then, slowly, a figure emerged from the shadows. She wasn't human, that much was immediately clear. Her skin was a soft, luminescent purple that seemed to capture the harsh bay lights and transform them into something gentler. Silver markings traced delicate patterns across her forehead and down her slender neck. Her eyes, wide with apprehension, were the deep violet of distant nebulae. "Please," she whispered, her accent musical and strange. "I mean no harm." Elias kept his weapon steady. "Who are you, and how did you get on my ship?" "My name is Naya," she stepped forward, hands raised to show they were empty. "I boarded while you were negotiating with the traders. I had no choice." "Everyone has choices," Elias said coldly, though something in her expression made his finger ease off the trigger. "What are you running from?" Naya's gaze dropped to the floor. "Extinction." She opened her hand to reveal a small crystal that pulsed with inner light. "My world, Lunaris, was attacked. Those of us who survived are hunted now. They believe I possess something they want." "And do you?" Her violet eyes met his. "Knowledge, the kind that could end wars or start them." Elias felt the familiar weight of unwanted responsibility settling on his shoulders. His ship, his rules, and the simplest rule was to avoid complications. A refugee alien woman with pursuers definitely qualified as a complication. "I'll drop you at Proxima Station," Elias said finally, lowering his weapon. "After that, you're on your own." Naya stepped closer, the light playing across her purple skin. "You don't understand," she said. "They're tracking me. If I'm seen at any official station, they'll find me. Find us." "There is no us," Elias snapped. "There is now," she said softly. "Whether you wish it or not, our paths have crossed, and I believe it was not by chance." Elias holstered his blaster with a sigh. "Stay in the passenger quarters. Don't touch anything. Don't make me regret this." As the door closed behind him, he couldn't shake the feeling that his carefully constructed solitude had just been irrevocably shattered by a woman with purple skin and eyes that seemed to see right through him. "Thank you," Naya said. "The stars guided me to your ship for a reason," Elias ran. He froze. "How do you know my name?" "Your ship registration," she answered simply. "And perhaps something more. My people sense things others cannot." Elias felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cargo bay's temperature. "Just stay out of my way." But as the door closed behind him, he couldn't shake the feeling that his carefully constructed solitude had just been irrevocably shattered by a woman with purple skin and eyes that seemed to see right through him.
Sanctuary Moon. The landing was rough, but survivable. The nebula drift skidding across a plain of blue-gray dust before coming to rest against a rocky outcropping. The moon's thin atmosphere created an eerie twilight, the gas giant looming enormous in the violet sky. Environmental scan complete, the ship's computer reported. Atmosphere, breathable with filtration. Temperature, -15 degrees Celsius. No detectable life forms. Elias assessed the damage from the external viewports. Main engines completely fried. We'll need to replace the plasma conduits and realign the power couplings. He ran a hand through his dark hair. 3 days of repairs minimum. If we had parts, which we don't. I can fabricate most of what we need. Elias tapped his hand against the viewport frame, thinking. The rest we'll have to salvage from non-essential systems. They worked through the moon's long day, Naya proving herself remarkably adept at engineering, despite her navigator background. As the gas giant set, casting the landscape into deep shadow, they retreated to the ship's common area, exhausted but satisfied with their progress. The heating system operated at minimal capacity to conserve power, leaving the air uncomfortably cool. Elias found an emergency thermal blanket and offered it to Naya. "Your species runs hotter than mine," he observed as she wrapped it around her shoulders. "You must be freezing." "On Lunaris, winter temperatures drop to -50, she said with a small smile. "But yes, I am... what's your word? Chilly?" Elias hesitated, then sat beside her on the small couch, close enough that their shoulders touched. "Body heat helps," he explained awkwardly. She looked at him with those disconcerting violet eyes, a knowing expression on her face. "Indeed it does." They sat in silence for a moment, the ship creaking as its metal hull contracted in the cold. Outside, stars blazed with unfiltered brightness through the moon's thin atmosphere. "Why did you really board my ship?" Elias asked. "Out of all the vessels at that outpost, why mine?" Naya's hand went to her crystal pendant. "My people have a connection to what you might call intuition. When I saw your ship, I felt..." She searched for the right word. "Resonance, as if our paths were meant to cross." "You believe in destiny?" Elias couldn't keep the skepticism from his voice. "I believe in patterns," she corrected. "The universe has rhythms we barely perceive. Sometimes people are drawn together because they need each other, even if they don't yet know why." Her purple fingers found his, intertwining slowly. Her skin was indeed warmer than his, almost feverish. "And do I need you, Naya, of Lunaris?" he asked, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Perhaps," she replied, her gaze moving from their joined hands to his eyes. The moment stretched between them, charged with possibility. Then Naya leaned forward, closing the distance, her lips finding his with a surprising softness. Elias froze for an instant before responding, his hand moving to the back of her neck, feeling the raised patterns of her silver markings beneath his fingers. The kiss deepened, her otherworldly warmth spreading through him. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing heavily. "I shouldn't have done that," Naya whispered, though she made no move to create distance between them. "Why not?" Elias asked, his thumb tracing the line of her jaw. "Because it complicates things. Because we're from different worlds. Because..." A harsh alert from the cockpit interrupted her. They rushed to the control panel to find a blinking warning. Orbital approach detected. Elias activated the external sensors. A sleek, predatory vessel had entered the moon's orbit, its design unfamiliar, but clearly military. "They found me," Naya breathed, her earlier warmth replaced with cold fear. "The Lunarian Guard. They must have tracked the crystal's energy signature." "How? We're light years from Lunaris territory. Commander Varric is... persistent." She faced hardened. "He led the faction that wanted to use the crystal's information to escalate the war, not end it. If he captures me, countless more will die." Elias studied the approaching ship's capabilities, his mind racing. The drift can't outrun that thing, even if repairs were complete. "Then I should go," Naya said quietly. "If I surrender, perhaps they'll leave you in peace." Elias caught her arm as he turned to leave. "No one's surrendering. Not on my ship." He pulled up the moon's topographical scan. "There's a network of caves 2 kilometers east. If we can reach them before they land, they'll find us eventually. Eventually gives us time. And time gives us options.
As they prepared to venture into the alien landscape, Elias found himself making choices he wouldn't have considered days earlier. His carefully constructed isolation was crumbling, replaced by something both frightening and exhilarating. Naya paused at the airlock, her expression solemn. "Why are you helping me, Elias?" He considered deflecting with practicality or self-interest, the shields he'd maintained for years. Instead, he found himself speaking truth. "Because for the first time since the war, I'm choosing a side I can believe in." The moon's surface awaited them, bathed in starlight. Above, the Lunarian vessel began its descent, hunting for the woman with purple skin and the human who had decided to stand with her.
Echoes of home. The station's maintenance bay had been transformed. Discarded equipment formed makeshift barriers, and the lighting had been reprogrammed to create shadows where there should be none. In the center of this controlled chaos, Nira stood with her eyes closed, concentrating. "Remember, humans don't glow," Liam coached gently, especially not when feeling strong emotions. Nira nodded, focusing on suppressing her bioluminescence. After 5 days of intensive preparation, she had learned to dim her natural radiance to nearly nothing, though maintaining control during stress or intimate moments remained challenging. "And your speech patterns," Liam prompted. "I am Julia Chen," she recited, carefully flattening her melodic inflections. "Your research assistant, recently transferred." The cover story they had fabricated was thin, but might withstand casual scrutiny. Liam checked his datapad. 2 more days until Reyes arrives. "We've made progress, but not enough," Nira finished for him, opening her eyes. The violet of her irises had been disguised with brown contact lenses, her purple skin concealed beneath specially formulated makeup. With her luminescence suppressed, she could almost pass for human, if no one looked too closely. That evening, they sat together in Liam's quarters, the most personal space on the station. Here, away from the clinical environment of the labs, he had created something resembling a home. Books, a small collection of earth plants, and photographs of landscapes Nira had never seen. "Mountains," Liam explained, showing her an image of towering peaks, in a place called Colorado. Nira studied the picture, then removed her resonance crystal and held it up beside the photo. "Like Azura," she said softly, "our crystal spires reached to the sky." With gentle movements, she activated the crystal, which emitted a complex harmony. The sound coalesced into a 3-dimensional projection, a city of crystalline towers that seemed to sing as they reached toward an amber sky. Liam watched, mesmerized. "It's beautiful." "Was beautiful," Nira corrected, letting the projection fade. "I am the last memory keeper now." She placed the crystal in Liam's palm, closing his fingers around it. "If something happens to me, this holds what remains of my world." "Nothing will happen to you," Liam insisted, but the promise rang hollow against the reality of their situation. Nira moved closer, resting her head against his shoulder. "When I found you," she said quietly, "I thought I had lost everything. But now," she looked up at him, her true eyes revealed without the contacts, shimmering violet, "now I fear losing something again." Liam cupped her face gently. "Not everything beautiful has to end," he whispered. Their kiss deepened beyond the cautious explorations of days prior. Nira's control slipped, her skin beginning to pulse with light that traced the contours of her body. Liam's hands followed the illuminated patterns, each touch intensifying their glow. "Sorry," she gasped between kisses. "Cannot control." "Don't," Liam murmured against her neck. "Don't hide. Not with me." Clothes were discarded, barriers of fabric giving way to the discovery of each other. In the darkness of the quarters, Nira's natural luminescence painted their intertwined forms in shifting violet light, casting ethereal patterns across the walls as they moved together. 2 bodies from different worlds finding a harmony as ancient as the stars themselves. Afterwards, lying in each other's arms, Liam traced the now fading patterns on her shoulder. "We could leave," he suggested suddenly. "Take the emergency shuttle before Reyes arrives. Head to the outer colonies where UNSC presence is minimal." Nira propped herself up, studying his face.
You would leave everything, your work, your world. What work? Liam laughed without humor. Counting microbes on an uninhabited moon? This isn't living, it's existing. He touched her cheek. You've shown me the difference. Before Nira could respond, the station's alarm blared, shattering their moment of peace. Liam jumped up, rushing to the communication panel. Proximity alert, he read, face paling. Vessel approaching. UNSC designation. He looked at Nira, eyes wide with fear. It's Reyes, she's early.